Ladies and gentlemen, the panel discussion on embracing change, navigating the future of the Indian real estate. May we please give it up for Miss Nidhi Srivastava, a founder, Griviti Properties Dubai, UAE. Nidhi, Dubai is the place where maximum Indians are getting into investments. A lot of them, of course, shifting to, but most of them getting into investments. So there's lots to discuss on the scenario in India and across the world. Thank you, Nidhi. You look gorgeous this evening. Thank you so much. May we please welcome Managing Director, M Realty, Dr. Advocate Harshal Savla. Once again, welcome, Harshal. So, Harshal, is it you who moderated the session last time, or was it Nidhi? Nidhi, oh, wonderful. May we please welcome Mr. Keval Vallambia, Chief Operating Officer, CREDI, MCHI. Let's give it up for Dr. Srinivasan R. Iyengar, Director, JBJMS, University of Mumbai. Welcoming Mr. Angelo Rajesh Athaide, the Chairman, Global St. Angelo Group of Company. You can take your seats. Actually, किसी को पता नहीं, I know, but किसी को पता नहीं था हम वक्त पर शुरू करेंगे, you see. लेकिन इतना ballroom is full, so we need to respect your time and everyone's time. May we please welcome Mr. Ayush Puri, our head, City and Rock Group Business Services Private Limited this evening. Thank you. Hey Ayush, hello. Welcoming Mr. Robin Banerjee, Managing Director, Capri Hunts Private Limited, Mr. Gopal Sardar, Founder and CEO, Vibe Realty Private Limited. Thank you, Gopalji. Thank you to our distinguished panelists. And the very dynamic lady, Nidhi Srivastava, Founder, Griviti Properties Dubai, who shall moderate this wondrous session.
So thank you so much. I think you've always been very, very good, and it's always nice and pleasant to see you, as vibrant as you always are. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And a very warm welcome to all of you. I think I'm so honored and glad to see this entire panel. Of course, the stalwarts of the real estate industry. And I'm equally very excited that I think the session is going to be really, really hot in terms of subject pertaining to Proptech. It's going to be real estate. It's going to be, urbanization. We have a mixed panel. So I think I can't wait to start this discussion, knowing that I'm sure the organizers are going to trigger me at sharp on time. So without wasting any further time, I think as the subject says, I think I would definitely want to know from all of you that there are so many changes which are happening in the real estate industry. I think these changes pertain to changes in the statutory laws, bylaws which are coming up. These changes which are more related to customer preferences, like the technology, like how things are evolving. Most importantly, I think the whole phenomena of real estate in terms of land acquisitions, in terms of business development. What is, according to you, the most critical factors affecting the real estate scenario for the next future in terms of affecting India, in terms of the more real estate, how the real estate would come up? Starting from you, Harshal, and this is really the rapid fire round.
Thanks, Nidhi. I think the biggest change that has happened is the home buyers' buying preference. They are not looking only at location and square foot. They are looking at the product. They are looking at overall well-being, and they are looking at, hi Rajesh. Hi. They're looking at overall experience. And I think that is the single most important factor, which is going to be a game changer. So no more it is South Bombay only. Today where we are, Borivali, I think it's the most robust market.
Robust, yes.
And Bandra, so there is not one market which is robust now. I think each micro market has their key players, and we are soon looking at one Mumbai, one price.
That's right. That's absolutely excellent. I think, Keval, your thoughts on that?
Well, I will divide your future into years.
Right.
I'll only talk about 10 years because that's what we can
Right.
foresee usually. So I think in the next 10 years, the 3Ds,
Right.
data, digital DNA, and diligence. These three words are going to drive the real estate market. Imagine 240 million residents living in urban areas of India by 2040.
Superb. I think
Right?
well said
Huge.
on that part. That's absolutely right. Ayush, what's your thought, knowing
So-
that you're more from the Proptech side?
Yeah, so no, great question. I think real estate traditionally has very successful operating without technology, but I think now it's kind of the need of the hour. And with the new age buyer sellers, I think that's what's going to change because the new age buyer sellers want everything on demand. You know, it's a Spotify generation. And I think as real estate evolves, rather than, technology disrupting it, I think even technology will continue to evolve for this new Gen Z buyers.
Amazing, amazing. I think we can't, seclude that part. Gopal, more from the development side, yes,
Of course. So I would say, I think to have more progress in the industry per se, I would say land digitalization is very important. Nowadays, we being the developers, we know there are too much hindrances to acquire the land. So I think first on the land digitalization front. Second, we need more ease of doing business on the approval front. So probably one window clearance on the approval front. And third is that we all know that while banking channel is doing a decent job, but even post booking till the first disbursement, it's a 30-day process. So we have to ensure that everything has to be online quick by submitting the papers. So if all these three things together come, then I think we can curtail down the time and industry will flourish to the next level. Thank
Superb.
you.
Superb. I think that's a great talk. Mr. Banerjee, how do you take this ahead?
Good question to start with. Three important developments. India's per capita income, which is about $2,600 per person, is likely to go up to $12,000 per person by 2047. By 2035, this figure will become $7,000 to $8,000 per person, which
All
means
right.
people will have more income in their pockets.
That's right.
Now, number two, 50% of human beings in India, they will be urbanized. They will all move to the urban. And the moment they move to urban, they would need a home to stay, and therefore real estate. And number three, every year from now onwards, I believe the government of India is going to spend 10 lakh crore on infrastructure. Infrastructure means implication positively on real estate. So per capita income, urbanization, and infrastructure spend, who else can benefit except real estate?
That's true. That's so very true. How about you?
Yeah. Hi, good evening. I think, to sum it up all, three major factors that's going to drive real estate industry in the coming decade. Number one, I see rapid technological advancements. Real estate has always been traditionally late adopters of technology, we have seen. But I think we are making great strides there. Integrating Proptech and a lot of data into real estate now. So it's going to be one of the major factors. Secondly, I think evolving consumer preferences. People of different strata have different consumer preferences, right from budget homes to higher valued homes. So they are changing, and a lot of decision is being made through data. So as long as we keep in line with what the consumers actually want in the market, I think we are going to do great. And to a lot of extent, yes, the regulations that are currently impacting the overall real estate industry. The current dispensation is doing a great job in aligning a lot of things in line to the real estate markets right now. I'm sure there's a lot of things that we still can improve, but we're on the right track.
Superb.
Right? So
I think that's a good one from
yeah.
your side, I
Thank
think.
you.
How about you, Srinivasan sir?
Yeah, he already submitted very good. So now I'd like to add something, difference from that. Can you name any one industry where it is not affected by technology? Any one industry, any one. So there is no second thought to talk about whether technology is going to have any impact. It is a known fact. Let's accept the reality. Technologies come up. We can't say no to that. Now, what is happening, it as Banerjee has said, there is a clear cut of the divide.
Right.
Rich and poor.
Right.
The poor also have aspiration. They also need something. They don't want to compromise or trade off.
Right.
Maybe they will trade off. That's what the budget homes comes. One side, luxury will grow. Market is for everyone. In this market, you have seen RD also selling good. doesn't mean that tomorrow Wagoner also sells more.
True.
So market is for everyone. So big market. Tier 2 to Tier 3 cities are happening. Projects are there. The technology role of innovation comes. How to reinvent their products.
Right.
How to
right.
reinvent their materials. Conventional construction.
Right.
Recently, I had been to Harvard. I saw the 20-story building constructed in a few months. I mean, are we getting to that technology where we can able to do? I'm an alien of this entire people. Either I'm not a builder, I'm not a developer. I come from the conceptual understanding.
You're the consumer, I must say.
Absolutely. As a consumer, always right.
Yeah.
So every builder try to reinvent themselves,
Yes.
identifying alternative materials,
Right.
and how they can able to add value to customer as well as industry. If they do, market is for everyone.
Absolutely. Rajesh, to you, what do you think, the factors affecting the real estate industry? The critical ones.
So clearly infrastructure is a big challenge, but
Right.
it is improving dramatically as far
Sure.
as the metro and the coastal roads are concerned. It's a very different experience today when you travel from Nariman Point to Bandra, which used to
Right.
take 1.5 hours once upon a time, takes 28 minutes now.
Correct.
Also, the quality of real estate, the quality of development, and the planning behind every development has dramatically changed. It is not only the use of artificial intelligence, but also Internet of Things, which is coming into play.
IoT.
Whether your
Yeah,
IoT,
that's
whether
right.
it is your energy efficiency,
Yeah.
whether it is community living.
That's right.
So there is a new concept come within the housing colonies that are being developed today. And everybody in the complex or in a society is now connected via platforms like an app, which the developer is offering as a facility to the infrastructure that he has built. So there are business transactions happening within the same building or the same complex. People who didn't know each other started coming to know each other's wants and needs, and they started providing it. So I typically know some people who have earned more money in that new complex
Right.
than what they paid to the developer for buying that house,
Right.
because they could engage business opportunities with their neighbors, which completely created a new world for everybody there. So if you can have a house which can pay for itself within the first 5 years of living due to encashed business opportunities, that's a new way of looking at real estate, and people are now consciously planning this kind of moves.
No, absolutely.
Now, all this is happening purely because of tech play. And green energy, you can control all devices on technology. Like I see so many houses where the typical number of lights go off, typical number of lights come on, which is energy management.
Absolutely.
On sunset, on sunrise. Lots of things are changing dramatically because of technology-based innovations. For the first time, the developer has started thinking what the market wants because of technology-based inputs,
Right.
rather than he creating what he thinks can sell in the market.
No, that's
so these
perfect.
things are
I
changed.
think. That's perfect. I think taking a clue from here, Ayush, you have been doing a lot of work on the Proptech side, right? What do you think are the key innovations which the developer has to concentrate and that cannot be missed upon? Assuming the fact that not every developer today wants to have like a Proptech from day one, especially when the developer is an upcoming developer, I think there are other priorities. But what are the key innovations where a developer has to,
Right. So honestly, technology, you're right. For smaller developers, it looks like a long, sort of a huge first-time cost, but I think in the long term, it actually stabilizes your immune system, makes you a lot more stronger. So implementing that, whether it's a large developer, small developer, I don't think there's a lot of differentiation. I think there is developers now they've recognized that technology is helping. All of your sort of digital leads, they're all coming through Meta, right? Previously, it was mostly relationships, referral. So it's, when we talk about technology, we start thinking CRM, we start thinking, society management platforms. But it starts from your Meta. And now a lot of people have started using that. I think when we talk about innovations, I would say two. One is a lot of broker aggregation platforms are now there. So developers were used to an unfragmented market wherein there was an unfragmented network of brokers. And so the information asymmetry was there. For the buyers as well, there was information asymmetry. They didn't know the inventory, the prices, it kept changing, it was dynamic. So I think that's one. And the second thing is probably AI-powered zoning and planning, because without paying, without laying a certain brick, you can essentially imagine your property, right? You can imagine what the unit mix should be like,
right.
what the units should be. So yeah, those two.
Superb. Coming let's start right from the beginning, I think. Let's start from the development end. Gopal, you have been attached with a lot of, and you've been in, you've kind of headed a lot of Cat A companies, and now you are an entrepreneur yourself. Number one is you've also been very involved with the JVs and JDs and all of it. How has the JB and JD evolved over a period of time? And what are the critical factors? And, the same question I would love Keval to answer, and then Harshul, please.
Sure. I think, see, if you see 10 years back versus now, the scenario has changed a lot. 10, 12 years back, mostly the transactions were outright or probably some deferred payment, or some people were getting some tranches, because that time the sectorial transformation has not happened. You entered into a transaction on a MOU basis, you start selling, and then you collect money and keep on rotating your model. So even an outright commitment to the landowners was okay.
True.
But you see post 2015 or 2016, sectorial transformation through RERA, GST, demonetization, then we have some pandemic and all.
Correct.
Now what has happened, post RERA, the capital requirement has gone drastically high. Because one is about, you have to load your TDR paid FSI premium, then you have to pay towards the land cost, then you have to keep certain money for the working capital cycle management, because the GST has come into picture, and at nearing possession, people don't want to invest. They know that 3 months, 6 months down the line, you'll get a OC and they can save on the GST.
Right.
So if at all the fag ends, you keep on investing the money, then it's very difficult to make a money or return on capital employed or ROE or whatever parameters you evaluate when doing a business development.
Sure.
So this has created a capital intensive model,
Right.
which certain times due to sectorial transformation or cyclical changes, or if the prices are not going up and if the cost is not within your hand, even the costs are raising and the selling price is not going in the same spirit, then developers have evolved these models of JVJDs, and sometimes there is a valuation mismatch between the landowners and the developers. So how developer do is that they say, okay, you want 100 rupees, I'll give you 100 rupees, but eventually in this model, if he'll ask for 100 rupees upfront investment and then towards TDR and all those things, it's not a viable proposal. That's where the JVJDs have been involved, wherein the landowner is satisfied that ultimately he's enjoying his 100 rupees, and sometimes instead of 100, we don't mind paying him 120, 125 also. Eventually it goes from the project.
Agreed.
And that reduces your capital intensive model. So JVJDs have been evolved. And some of the markets, like specifically Pune market, wherein the margins are moderate. So every time Pune is largely been considered as a JVJD market because the margins are moderate. Mumbai per se, the margins are decent, but the land parcels are not available. And that's where the redevelopment is being evolved, which is a similar to synonymous model of JVJD is what we have to consider. And I think from here onwards, this is a partnership wherein developer has to take care about landowners, even the approval authority. Today BMC is 1/3 partner in our profitability. So this is more of a all stakeholders game. The one who will handle all stakeholders nicely with proper efficiency, he'll win in the longer run.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a good one. Keval, just changing a little bit of this question to you. These factors are so critical for a developer. Because you've been so closely working with CREDAI, MCHI, do you think that all these factors are global factors, or this really are different for different people, and CREDAI, MCHI is over a period of time is really pondering over these, how to kind of make it more efficient and probably how to balance it up? What's your thought on that?
Right, so first question, sorry, hello.
Is that working?
Yeah. So the first question you said, is this global or is it local basically, or is it affecting all or not?
That's right, that's right.
Well, it's very urban centric, I would say. If you had asked me this 3 years back, I would say it was very Mumbai specific scenario. Well, if you go to tier 2 or tier 3 cities right now, I mean, all of us developers have stopped purchasing land. We are partnering it now, isn't it? That's the key. Right. I mean, there's a difference. Yes, greenfield developments lessening up because of the scarcity of land. The only issue what I see here is that when we get into a JV, a joint venture, or a JD, which is joint development, what we fail to see usually, the challenges as I call it, is that we fail to see who will be the authority, the decision-making authority? What about the consent of the tenants who, if it is a redevelopment property? These are all very niche issues as such, but they are so very much pragmatic in their nature that if we fail to ignore it, which we usually do, the project, the JV, the JD, the very nature of that partnership, becomes fragile. About CREDA MCHI, it's like the GPS, right? It's like the Google Map.
That's right.
If you have any legal issue, CREDA MCHI. It's a 2,800 plus developers chamber, right? All private developers.
That's huge.
So we are the one who negotiate for the developers in terms of policy, in terms of policy advocacies. We talk with more than 100 plus government departments, center and state both included, so that we make sure that the housing policies, the infrastructure policies, the ease of doing business is kind of more practical. So I think, yes, we are there as far as redevelopment is concerned, which was not asked to me, but I would just like to add to it, is that initially it was the side dish of real estate menu. Now it has become the main course.
Absolutely, I agree with that. That's absolutely right. I think, especially in the market of Bombay, for sure. Arshul, your thoughts on that?
So I'll tell you, it's, whenever you want to be successful in business, you have to adjust your sail according to how the wind is flowing.
Sure.
And I think the government is the wind to which you have to adjust your sail. Government is very clear. They want to see cluster development, 33.9. Government is very clear. They want iconic buildings to be made. They recently announced a policy around this. Now, what does these two things mean? It means unlimited FSI. There's no cap on FSI.
Right.
It means your reduced premiums. Now, this is music to any developers here. How do you achieve this? Look at a project like a relay race. So you'll need two developers, one who's very good with the groundwork, a second one who comes with a solid balance sheet, construction expertise, marketing, sales, tech, muscle power listed, and will do the job. And I think if you observe the clusters, today is India's tallest tower, second tallest tower being made in the city are working in this format.
Correct.
And I think this is the way forward, and there is enough in the pie for everyone. Gone are the days of standalone, small, strata development which look like rocket.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Government is clearly indicating that's not what they want.
Completely, completely. Rajesh, you've seen like this entire change happening. I think in the industry, you've kind of seen different phases of growth, right? Today, you're a builder yourself. How has the industry, the real estate industry has evolved over this period of time? Do you think that the way we are progressing now is a better way of progressing? Or do you think that there are caps in which the challenges, what you used to do previously or the developers used to do previously, have now increased? What's your thought on that?
So real estate is a very interesting sector and a segment. And I look at it as a very different angle. This is one business where everything can get outsourced. Your lawyer is outsourced, chartered accountant is outsourced, contractor is outsourced, RCC consultant is outsourced, planning architect is outsourced, design architect is outsourced, licensing architect is outsourced. The developer has to play a financial role, period. The equation has changed. Once upon a time, 20 years back, I'm 20 years in this industry now. 20 years back, if the project cost was, say, 50 crores, I just needed 1 crore in my pockets to start the project.
Wow.
Today, if the project cost is 100 crores, if you don't have 50 crores in your pockets, you cannot think about it. And if the FSI is more, like how Anshul said, limitless, then you need to have provision of 75% of the finance ready at your end, because as the building grows taller, your contribution increases. The time becomes longer. The premiums fall short, but the responsibility of development in terms of financial terms multiply.
Absolutely.
So technically, you will be very surprised to know this, but every developer in this country is a banker who works even on bank holidays. He is earning money to pay interest of the bank loans that he has taken against the long development that he's done.
Absolutely.
As a developer, I have a little different thought.
That's true.
For me, real estate is not about FSI. Real estate is how can you enter quick and exit quick. For me, it's not maximizing and going to the extent of limitless development. For me, 33.7 is the most beneficial scheme of BMC, which allows you, depending on the road width, up to 3.24 FSI
That's right.
of the ground area. That is the best profitable scheme. Every other scheme where you achieve 4 FSI and above is most of the times a debt trap if you don't have sufficient funds up your sleeve. Otherwise, the expense will outrun your revenues and you are going to be in a limbo. So many projects today are built by 2 sets of developers or 3 sets of developers. In so many projects, at least 25 to 30% of the projects in Mumbai, in a magical city of Mumbai, one project is done by 3 developers. It's like a relay race. पहला वाला भागा, थक गया, पैसे खत्म हो गए, रुक गया. किसी ने आया, उसको टेक ओवर कर लिया, वो भागा, थक गया, रुक गया, किसी और ने आके टेक ओवर कर लिया और उसने जाकर प्रोजेक्ट पूरा किया.
That's true. That's
Depending
true.
on the size of the project, I can name projects where 4 developers have been taken to complete the whole project, and that profit is getting divided in a way कि exiting वाले का जो नुकसान है वो incoming वाले का नफा है. The project doesn't have profit.
Yeah.
The exiting partner takes a hit on his capital, and that is the profit of the new incoming developer. It's a finance play. You really need to have a very sharp financial mind to
I
complete a
agree.
real estate project in Mumbai.
I agree. I think I can see. Yes, absolutely. And I see a big smile on the face of my developer friends here. Because the pain is the same everywhere, you know. Okay, this heart out is done by the developers. Let's hear something from the consumer side by Banerjee sir or you. And then I'm definitely going to pose it to all 3 of you for that matter. I think there's a lot of pain here when it comes to the developer making the, bringing out the project, as Gopal rightly explained about JVJDs and a lot of things. What happens when the consumer sits across the table, and what's that exact thing? Do you think that, the consumer these days are wanting to have more of a reasonable, understanding that every place in the universe is growing, but how does a consumer be covered with some kind of a reasonable proportion? What's your thought in that? Whether the pain of developer is more or the consumer needs to be moderate. What's your thought on that? How do you have an equilibrium? Sorry, just to kind of summarize.
Such a relevant question. As a consumer, what is a consumer looking for? The big champions of developers and real estate industry sitting here. The biggest issue for a consumer is trust. Does the customer trust the seller? Because it's a long-term haul. Most of the properties are bought through loans. And therefore, I am taking a liability on my head to ensure that my money is safe. That's number one. That's a customer I'm as a customer. Is it trust? Can I trust the developer? Can I trust the seller? Second, what is the possibility of an appreciation of a property? No more does a property being bought by purchasers, most of the time, that he or she wants to rent it out. Because the yield on rent is not more than 5 to 6%. 6% will be very high. Therefore, what am I looking for? Appreciation of the property. How will the appreciation of the property happen? If an infrastructure takes place around, which was not there, it's close to an airport or a railway station, or there is no railway station, no airport, suddenly an infrastructure goes to happen. So if I know an infrastructure is going to happen, that's the second part. Although you have not asked the question, but please understand for all of us here and all of us from real estate industry, the size of real estate industry in India today is $400 billion. It comes to about 35 lakh crore. It is estimated by 2030, this will be $1 trillion, 85 lakh crore. So much the real estate industry is going to just now mammothly grow, especially faster than the renewable energy market. Because of urbanization. I just told you, per capita income growing, urbanization going, and infrastructure going up. So therefore, as a customer, I have a choice. I can buy gold, I can buy mutual fund, I can go to shares, I can put it in the bank, I can go land. Why should I buy real estate? Because the possibility of enhanced growth in India is so tremendous. I believe gold is a matter of speculation. So gold, ab chhod dijiye. Barring gold, and of course equity shares are always give and take, real estate perhaps will give the biggest growth, which as a customer, I think all of us know about it.
Superb. What's your thought on this?
In the recent past, if I go back 5-10 years, and I've met a lot of customers, I've dealt with a lot of customers, And what I have seen primarily is in the last 10 years, I don't think people primarily will buy residential real estate for investment. That's number one, right? Although residential real estate has shown some appreciation over a period of time, but I think people are much more aware now, much more educated now, because a lot of information is available on where to invest, what to invest, and
That's
how
true.
to invest, right?
That's true.
So I think from a customer's point of view, the first thing I would look at in terms of real estate is if I'm buying a residential real estate, it would be for end use. That's my number one criteria. When I'm looking for end use, of course, affordability is number one thing. Convenience is number one thing. Comfort is another thing. And of course, aspirational. It has to be aspirational. So all four factors combined, if I put myself in a customer's shoes, all of these four criteria have to be met. Now, if you're a developer, of course, you are making a decision based on all of this information that you are getting across when you're interacting with a lot of customers and when you're getting a lot of information through data, which is coming across now. So developers will definitely thrive and survive who takes care of all of these four aspects for the customers. Secondly, customers, as he rightly said, I think they have a lot of options right now, right? There are a lot of people who are buying real estate are very well educated. They are very well aware. So they know what market prices is right now persisting in a particular location, what is there that they're looking at, and they're not in a hurry to make a decision, right? There is a gestation period of 6 months to 9 months when I'm looking to buy a property for myself or an end use.
Agreed.
So I'm not in a hurry to make a decision. When I'm not in a hurry to make a decision, I have a lot of time to go through a lot of options, go through a lot of material and information, and then make an educated decision on what I want. So from an end user's point of view, from someone who's buying real estate for the end use, I think this is a very good time to be in the market right now because a lot of options are there, a lot of price points are there, and you can pick and choose based on, and most importantly, the trust factor. So
Absolutely. I think stealing that, Srinivasan sir, what is your thought on that? How is the consumer behaving at this moment?
See, change of consumerism, earlier it is when you talk about everything they want to do it yourself. But today customers, they want to do it for themselves. Do it for myself. I don't mind to pay premium price. That is a youngsters, their lifestyle is changing. I can't compare developers with retail business.
Right.
So, but just check it out. Initially what happened to retail? Nobody made money, everybody lost. When I say modern trade retail. But today you see how retail has come up.
Right.
Every product is coming to the customer's house within 10 minutes. Because of the pressure of the other brand, even Amazon, Flipkart, even delivering it city like Mumbai, even at 12 o'clock. And if you see the volume, what is the bill, what is the frequency, completely changed from the conventional business. That is one example. You can see how consumer is changed. Take that automobile.
Yeah.
Today, if you see the automobile, how customers are buying a car, what is the preference, what are the quality, what do they get, what are the options they get.
Correct.
Just compare 20 years before to today. Now you come to the customers of the real estate, whatever it is. As Banerjee said, absolutely, when you talk about, even today, you can see that what is the growth of mutual funds?
Right.
What is the return they are getting? What is the capital market? Even though market is not doing last few months, but still if you see that average return in mutual funds is even damn basic knowledge, people knows 15% you are getting return.
Absolutely.
Tell me which property is given that much, more than 3% to 5%. Today rentals increased. Bangalore, you can see the change in the rental. Even Mumbai is picked up. Is it picked up with the market standard?
No,
As a
superb,
builder,
right?
you check it out.
Well
If I
said.
buy the property 1 BHK in a suburb of 1 crore, if I pay EMI of 1 lakh, if I go for a period of 20 years, will I get a return 1 lakh in a month? If I get it, I can ready to book 5 flats now. Any builders, I can give open offer.
No, superb.
I
think-
don't get not even 20,000. Why
Yeah.
people should invest on that? What is the value proportion, value creation? That's what I said. Builder has to rework on that. How to reduce the price, come up with. Because customer want everything without compromising with it. Because if they pay low price, still their aspirations to have everything. That's
Got
why
it.
today tier
Got
two,
it.
tier
Actually, that's a good one, which also brings me to a thought. Ayush, asking you this question again. There is a battle going on between a traditional developer versus the Proptech, right? What do you feel is the challenges which one faces dealing with the traditional developers, which are obviously doing very well? What's your thought on that?
I think you asked about the developers and the customer. I'm sitting in the
Middle, I know.
I'll act.
That's why you've been given a hot chair there.
Yeah, I'll act
in the
as the
middle.
middleman, not only tech, but
Yeah.
also the channel partners that are
Sure.
considered the middlemen.
Absolutely.
I think for the channel partners, all of this, sort of is where the largest challenge comes in, because one, the channel partner is the one who's expected to adopt this technology, right?
Sure.
And a lot of these, channel partners, they've not grown up using this kind of hardcore CRM systems. So I think, what happens in this case is a lot of tech companies, they build the tech and they present it to the developer or the end customer, but there is no, so implementation is great, but then adoption is where we falter, right? So it usually happens when tech companies build tech being divorced with business. And then we expect, channel partners or developers or end customers to adopt this kind of technology. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges when it comes to technology. Not a lot of people adopt it. Yes, a lot of people are using it, and Proptech is a sexy buzzword, but not a lot of people understand it as well. When you talk about challenges that a Proptech company faces per se, I would say a lot of times it's like fitting a square peg in a round hole when tech guys are going and pushing this to the business. If you've not been on ground, you've not understood the business, you've not had customer interactions, then don't go and do sales at that point.
Absolutely.
So I think those would be a couple of the challenges from PropTech, and for the middlemen, which a lot of people consider as a channel partner from that perspective.
Absolutely. I think we've talked about development, we've talked about consumer, and taking a hint from Rajesh, who said that financing is very critical. Keval, what's your thought on actual financing? What is FDI doing? What's FDI doing? Gopal, this will subsequently go to you, because funding again plays a very important part, and I would want to also have a little rapid fire round when it comes to Harshul and Rajesh. I think very valid question, because I cannot leave the part of financing when it comes to development. Keval, over to you.
Before I answer your question, since you are the moderator and our monitor, can I just reply to what Srini said?
Please, it'll be great.
I'm sorry, I was I could not stop myself, Srini. So those who wants to compare the rate of returns, investments, percentage between mutual funds, equity and home, why don't you leave in your demat account? Right? Home buying is not always about returns. It's as he said, it's aspirational, it's emotional. Do you, are you able to sit in a demat account and enjoy a cup of coffee with your family? You can't, right? So it's not about returns, it's about the emotional investment which a person does or kind of invests into a house. So I'm a staunch opposer when it comes to, why are properties offering me 5 to 6% at max and mutual funds at 15? Well, the entire nature is different in both the products. FDI, right? Foreign direct investment. This was like, we used to hear this word in 1990s only in the news, especially when Pranav Roy used to give those fancy figures. I am glad to tell you, only in 2023, I don't have the 2024 figures with me right now, but only in 2023, the Indian real estate got $5.3 billion US into investment from FDI only, and this is growing while we say, which means that the FDI, money is available to right people, to right project, right? So you
take this.
So yeah, so money is available, FDI is very much into the market. FDI has changed a lot, however. It has brought a lot of responsibility. Rajesh was talking about 4 developers into one project. I know one project with 7 developers. So things are changing, right? Things are changing. One project, Rajesh, 7 developers, 7 partners. That's because a lot of FDI coming in, right? A lot of responsibility coming in, right? Very basic things, FDI, it's available, as I said. You need to have ESG compliance, you need to have environmental compliance, you need to have a lot of, like your RERA dashboard should be clean, to be honest, to start with.
That's right, absolutely.
So, yes, it is there, it is impacting all of us, but then it is only available to those who comply.
That's right. Gopal, what's your quick thought on that? Knowing that you are a budding developer,
Sure. So I think financing is a very interesting subject, and there is a sequence, like people prefer to go in one sequence, but they end up going in different sequence. And when I think from a developer's perspective, our preference is always like first internal accruals, then bank loan, then HNIs and last private equity. But when we enter in the game, it reverses. It starts with private equity, then HNIs, then bank, and last is internal accrual, because the industry have gone through the sectoral transformation and regulatory bodies have incorporated many stringent things which I have already said. But having said that, I would suggest for Cat A developers, I think financing is very simple. They get at cost of capital even in 8, 9, 10% also. Real financing is the need of B and C developer, and there they have to really apply their own minds. And the financing goes in line with the risks.
Right.
So probably first rule is that you cannot start the game without having a zero investment from your side. So that means the seed capital has to be there in the pocket.
Absolutely.
Otherwise you should not enter in this game of any real estate development.
Right.
So the initial marriage with either the society, JV, JDs or the landowner, the initial seed capital needs to be infused by you. And then followed by, if you are going pre-approval stage, then obviously private equities and HNIs back you. But nowadays HNIs have burned their hand and they are not very sort of in terms of regulated and well governed, and then they have reluctant to come pre-approval. So the NBFCs, the AIFs, they took this role and they are going aggressively. You see so many AIFs have been opened in last half a decade or 1 decade, and everybody is giving and taking a lot of risk. Today they are giving to BNC developer even at 20-22% IRR. But it makes sense. They also make money, the developer also make money, and then eventually both establish their brand name, and slowly when you deliver projects, there your cost of capital goes down.
Right.
So initially you start with 21%, you deliver 2 projects, it goes to 18, then you deliver another 3 projects, it comes down to 15, and then once 6, 7 projects has been delivered, then you come in the normal zone of 12 to 14% with the banks. And probably post receivables, at any given point of time, you can refinance and go to the bank. So typically you start with 18 to 22% funding for first 18 to 21 months. Once you have created certain sold receivables, you go to the bank, discount it, repay them. So half the journey you carry with 20-22%, half the journey you carry with 12-14%, and your average cost of borrowing should come down to 15-6%. So I think financing is an art. Which finance to use at what stage? And you have to be very efficient. When you are going on the treadmill of financing, maybe it starts from 12 to 22%, but your efficiencies only can help you to derive your business plan objectives, to derive your stated goals, or probably whatever returns you have anticipated in your mind. Without efficiency, you cannot come out of this financing game positively.
Perfect.
Then it might possible at the end, you have worked with all the stakeholders, and your margins have been
Absolutely.
screwed.
I think with that note, I definitely want to change this question to both of you, is that how do you bridge the gap between approvals versus finances? Because it's a very delicate balance, you know. As a developer, you plan something else, and there's a thin line between the approvals and how you manage the entire cash flow. So do you think it is a very critical
I think
platform for any
RERA
developer?
has made this very clear.
Okay.
You can sell only after the RERA number
That's
comes.
right, that's right.
Which means after your CC is in place. Today, any real estate project in Mumbai, 1/3 of the project cost is approvals.
Right.
Which by and large means if you need to have 40 to 45% equity,
Right.
which the project cost requires in your pocket.
Correct.
I think if you don't have that, don't even think about launching this project because it's going to be a mess. We've seen what AIFs, NBFCs, and all these fancy words can do to real estate.
Right.
We've seen enough of tsunamis around there. Second, I think the only way a real estate developer is going to survive is by making his organization a sales organization. The entire organization should be sales driven. Gone are the days where price will rise. And which is where here I agree with Srini sir, that residential is a bad investment. Don't do investment. But real estate is not only residential.
That's
Today
right.
you have data centers.
Absolutely.
Today you have logistics park. You have senior living. You have co-living, co-working. There's this whole asset class of alternative real estate. You have REITs. So if you want double-digit growth, these are the asset classes you can look at. There's plotted development, land, the historic and the best investment one can make. So residential sahi hai, but if you're looking at residential only in the form of apartments, it won't give you the yield. If you're looking at value-added residential, like a senior living product or a co-living product, it will give you
I
the
agree.
required
That's a very valid point. I think there has to be a mix of a lot of things when you make a portfolio. Yes,
So what you
Ramesh,
said
your
is
thought.
very interesting. 1/3 goes for approvals, 1/3 goes for construction
Yeah.
cost, balance 40% or 35% is actually your gross profits.
Right.
Then it is your excellence of operations which can determine your net profits.
Sure.
That's the game. Customers' money is the sweetest money. Bank money or other people's money is very dangerous because their interest works even when you're sleeping. Customers' money once paid to you, you're supposed to deliver the unit. It's a great situation to be in. 33% of sale, like he said, a builder should be a sales organization. If you sell, if you want to have maximum productivity of profit after tax, the ideal formula is 33% you need to sell the stock at plinth, 33% when the structure is ready, the grey structure जिसको हम local language में कहते हैं RCC बांधकाम plaster.
Absolutely.
By that खोका, by that time, and balance 33% to leverage the right price should be at possession, during the time of possession and OC. If you distribute it this way, you get optimum returns for your efforts and your investments, and at the same time, the customers get great value and appreciation because the guy who bought in the first lot of 33% will definitely see a price rise at the occupation certificate level.
Yeah,
So that's a great
true.
product to have.
That's true.
I want to just answer quickly in a very short breath about what Srini said. The best asset in this world to invest in is real estate because this is the only asset class which gets a 20-year loan. This is the only asset class which has got single digit of rate of interest to be paid.
Right.
This is the only asset class. I'll give you an example. There was a property that I bought for 20 lakhs in 2002. 10% was down payment, 90% was bank loan. So the bank loan was 18 lakhs. In a span of 20 years, I paid 18 lakhs as interest. So 20 plus 18 is 38, rounded off to 40 lakhs. After 20 years, I sold that asset at 3 crores.
Wow.
So 3 crores minus 40 lakhs is a net profit of 2 crores 60 lakhs. There is no way I could have earned that kind of a vertical growth in any
of the
business
instruments.
instrument.
Yeah, that's right.
If you want to buy low gold, you have to make down payment. If you want to buy shares, you have to make instant payment.
Right.
Real estate is the only class which can also help you to buy the gold and the bonds and the mutual funds and all the aspects. Secondly, a real estate asset, you don't need to sell to encash the profit.
Right.
I have an asset which I had bought for 80 lakhs in the year 2005. Then I leveraged it after the purchase value was 80 lakhs. 10 years later, that same asset, I could leverage it up to 4.5 crores.
Wow.
I didn't have to sell. I just took a loan against property and leveraged it in one of my projects.
Wow.
The interest that I paid on that loan was a income tax offset in my balance sheet, in my books of accounts, in my profit and loss account.
Wow.
So if you really develop a finance mind, you can really do wonders. All the wealth anybody has ever earned, maximum, at least to the tune of 95% of the global population, it has been only through real estate appreciation, and in majority of the cases it has been residential real estate, and now definitely commercial real estate is giving some different kind of formats for people to invest and make money.
Wow. So that sounds a very, very good logic. Banerjee sir, yeah, sorry, you want the mic?
In fact, I'm happy to say when I took a flat in 2007, 9 lakhs rupee property, sir, at Mulund, today it has become 1.75 crores.
Wow, what an appreciation.
Yeah, it is
Wow.
a fact. But the same return which I'm expecting for last 10 years, let accept the decency, I'm not getting that much return. What we are saying that the people who were invested in the city like Mumbai, before that rain, whatever it happened 2005, everybody got a jackpot. Whoever is sitting here must be a crorepati. I can tell you in fact. But are you going able to encash it? Are you going to get it in last 10 years? The way property has increased, the return on investment will have to work out. Again, still properties are very good, provided we do invest in tier 2 cities. Infrastructure is changing. Let's accept the reality. Banks' loans are improved. Let's accept the reality. Quality of the construction is improved. It is happening at the scattered way. The people who have a knowledge, even today people doesn't mean that people make money in capital market also. There are many people who lost in capital money also. It is all about individual capability, competency and wise wisdom. That's what we'd like to tell them. So definitely I know all the builders, let accept, you be happy with that. Properties gives good return.
Wow. So properties
Also ask yourself how much return are you getting? How much customers are getting? In the value chain, who is getting money? Let's understand that. Today in marriages, who makes money? Caterer makes money. Accept the reality. Who makes money in the marriages? Caterer makes money than anyone. In reality, business also, check it out. Whoever makes money, well and good.
So wow, the underlying point is property makes money. So Banerjee sir, taking a hint from here, I think you've been, while all the developers have been speaking about real estate, what is your thought into it? Because you've been more from that side of where you're kind of, really experimenting on actually what is happening from the data side. You've been really evaluating the market scenario, and not only of India, but many, and you've been a part of so many forums. What's your thought in that? Is that a reality? Because you deal with a lot of data on that.
Real estate business, as I said, it's now worth $400 billion, about 35 lakh crore. It's expected to become 80 lakh crore. Paisa kahan se aayega? It looks good that 400 billion will become $1 trillion, but where will the money come from? There are only two sources of money, equity and debt. For every 2 rupees of equity, you get 4 rupees of debt. Or every 1 rupee of equity, you can get 2 rupees of debt. Pehle equity leke aana padega. We just discussed that about $5 billion of FDI has come into the country, more or less. It becomes between $3 and $5 billion, it happens. As I'm talking to you, this year it has obviously crashed because of global reason. Just imagine, think, is $5 billion good? Answer is no. Why? $5 billion, the global GDP is $100 trillion. India has got 0.005% of the global GDP, where 15% of the people of Earth stays, 1.4 crores out of 8.2 crores. 15% of individuals, investment globally coming into India is 0.005%. Hum ye real estate, whatever we want to say, no problem. We are from real estate, we are gung-ho, we are saying future is great, past has been great for sure. This will only happen if equity comes. India is a poor country. We are a $4 trillion economy. Hamara paas equity hai nahi. Equity bahar se aana padega. Why is equity from outside not coming? Because they don't trust us. The ease of business doesn't exist. Try to put up an equity capital building in India by a foreigner. It's a nightmare. The permissions have to come overnight. Unless we can match Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, and so on and so forth, people are going to go, people have money, that equity is going to go there. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to attract the equity. In order to attract equity, government has to wake up. Government has to ensure the real estate is also an industry. Hamara bhi PLI hona chahiye. Productivity linked incentive. We can't keep real estate outside the scheme, otherwise we will lose this game of the huge opportunity with this.
Yes, so I think now that becomes a fact that, the real estate investment are like really, really happening. Let's change the different perspective. I think, Ayush, you've been a part of India and Dubai as well. Let's go a little on the global perspective. I think this set a nice agenda to the entire forum. Do you think whatever today we are talking, is it similar in the market? Because you've closely worked with developers of Dubai, you've worked with the departments as well. So do you think the scenario, I know it might not relate to you directly, but do you think that the scenario in both the countries are the same?
So, in Dubai, data is the new oil. Dubai, and developers have understood how to use this data, right? They've understood that when a consumer wakes up, the first thing they do is they check their phone. And thereafter, after they put their password in, everything is collected. When you wake up, open your phone, you're not going for a physical site tour, you're not going for a site visit. You're first checking your phone and you're looking at an Instagram ad or a YouTube walkthrough. And I think the developers, they have understood this and they've been able to capitalize on this. But I think honestly, what makes a real change in Dubai, which I've personally seen, and the government in Dubai is very, very proactive when it comes to regulatory changes for developers. And we're seeing that in India as well on the traditional front. And that's been growing exponentially on the traditional front. But when I talk on a little bit more on the tech aspect, maybe,
Right.
we see the government actually giving out visas, green visas for startups to come in, supporting smaller developers to set up shop in Dubai, supporting tech companies to kind of expand exponentially, giving funding, first round of seed funding. And I think India is, getting on that boat now with the digitization of land records, with RERA coming in. There's a lot more transparency.
That's right.
But if the governmental regulations, if processes, if these two work in collaboration, then we'll see a leapfrog shift. And I think just to conclude, I think if companies in India, maybe the tech companies rather in India, if they learn to collaborate rather than trying to replace, channel partners, brokers, and customers, that's when we'll actually see this collaboration within the fraternity.
Sure. Harshal, the question now coming to my mind, once Ayush is talking about a lot in what's happening in Dubai, is product, right? I think what I understand right now is the product also becomes a very integral part. Again, taking a hint from what the conversation we are having today, it's about keeping in mind the consumer. It's also about taking in mind what you have as an affordability as a developer, the bottom line of the business. So what's your thought on the product? How a developer can balance between developing a product which is definitely, as you said, the product is the king now, and yet achieving the margin of profit? And the same question then, Gopal, to you.
So I think what we really need in Mumbai, in India, is branded residences. I think where Dubai is really scored up well is they have a plethora of branded residences. Mumbai, which is the luxury capital, I mean, NCR guys will dispute, but yeah, still I believe Mumbai is the luxury capital. You just have 2-3 branded residences. You have the Four Seasons residences, you have the Trump Tower. We need more and more hospitality brands to collaborate with real estate projects. Chennai, Taj is collaborating and they're coming up with very interesting projects. So all these hospitality projects, if they collaborate, we have the Versace homes which Kolde Patil is doing. You have all these brands which can collaborate, and I think that'll enhance the product experience overall.
Sure.
Second, we need to get into a practice of building what we are showing. I think the biggest gap area is our marketing material is not collaborating with what is happening on the site.
Absolutely.
So I think if we get these two parts correct,
Right.
and the best way to address this is we need to license the developer and not the project.
Yeah.
I think the problem today is we are licensing, RERA is licensing the project.
Yeah.
They are not licensing the developer.
Right.
So if there is a mischief somewhere, the project can be an outlier, but the developer still functions.
That's right, that's right. A quick one from you, Gopal, and then I think I would want to hear from Keval also this.
So to answer your question, while coming up with the product and also balancing the bottom line, I would say product is an integral part of any business, and nowadays real estate, the game changer is also a product, because if you only talk about timely delivery, and I am also brand, and there are thousands of brand, and post-RERA timely delivery doesn't attract too much.
That's right.
So for me, while deriving today the entire business plan is around the product, because this product FSI consumption is giving you one set of revenues. This also saves you on the cost part. This optimizes your profit, because a city like Mumbai, you have to also take care about your open space deficiency also. You have to draw a 4-line and then come up your product in that. If you cross that line, then you keep on paying the open space premiums.
Absolutely.
Likewise, your staircase lift lobby premiums also is a cost to it. So one way you want to give the best of the experience, but then the customer should reciprocate that price in return, so that we are in the game of business, which is ultimately profit making. So you achieve that. So my sense is that one has to be very, very efficient while designing the product. They have to understand the consumer needs and the pattern from the bottom of the market, because the pulse is always at the bottom.
Right.
And also your regulatory challenges, because in the DCR, how you want to capture and play with it, so that you are within that cost, and come up with the best of the aesthetics, elevation, modern lifestyle. And for me, product is a collage of 3 things, which is landscape, interior, and the best floor plan, which has maximum utility of carpet. So I would say the developer should focus more on designing the product. They should take, instead of 3 months, they can take 6 months to design the product.
Right.
But later on, sell within 6 months rather than waiting for 3 years.
Absolutely.
So the approach should be take 3-4 months more while designing the product and curtail down half the sales timeline and achieve your business plan.
Right.
So that's my suggestion on the product front.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keval, coming up to you, I think I'll tweak this question a little again. He's been smiling because I always tweak when it comes to you. All right. Keval, see, we talk a lot about sustainability, right? We talk about a lot of innovation. We talk about a lot of things which a developer has to do. Do you think that a developer really at this moment is in the stress? And I know, Rajesh, I'm going to come back to you on this. Is the developer a lot of stress that the new concept like sustainability, the new concept like technology, the next generation homes? Do you really think that the real estate is all about all these things, or probably a house is a house?
All right, so first sustainability, right? And then the question, what is sustainability? As per the definition, it is something which we will pass over to our next generation. So in that way, real estate de facto is sustainable. Ultimately, that's what happens. However, when we talk about real estate being environmental friendly, it's altogether a different spectrum, right? So whenever there is an AQI issue into Mumbai, we developers are kind of pointed out. Yehi log hai jo kar rahe hain, We had this meeting with the BMC officers and the deputy commissioner as well, and we said that, madam, we are only assemblers.
Right.
Right? We only assemble certain products, cement, steel, this, that, and we make a product. Now, what about those products? Themselves are polluting in nature, right? We are only taking them from the manufacturer, suppliers, assembling them, making a product. So there are things which are available. There are green materials which are available, real-time green materials. Now, let's say if me and Harshul are doing a project side by side, right? Not that I want to compete with him, but just for an example. Now, let's say Harshul uses conventional materials, right? Which is not very environmental friendly, but I am a kind of green pro guy. And I'll say now you know that green cement itself, it is available in the market. It is 7 times costlier than the traditional cement. I want to use green tiles which are available. They are 6 times costlier than the traditional tiles. What will happen ultimately? I will lose the battle.
Yeah.
He'll win, right? Because ultimately the people who are going to buy, as Srini said, the price difference is going to kill my project.
Right.
So we need, yes, we can become sustainable. We are looking forward to become more environmental friendly because we are the one who are living in the same city, right? So we need some hand holding from the government. These green materials need subsidies. Forget about subsidies, need incentives. If a developer is building an environmental friendly building, I am not using sustainable word, environmental friendly building, he or she must get certain incentives in property tax rebate. Why only Amazon gets 1 rupee a unit electricity? Because they are giving 1.8 million employment to the state of Maharashtra, and why not us who are providing 3 crore employments in last 3 years? So the point is we need some incentives. If that is provided by the government, I am sure all of us are ready to look forward to becoming more greener than what we are today.
Superb. I think, Rajesh, is it a jazz or is it a
what
necessity?
I'll add here is green buildings are like brown bread sandwiches and multigrain sandwiches. So you need the customer for that who wants to switch from the white bread to a brown bread.
To a brown bread. Wow.
That is where it will work.
Mind it, many people are eating a brown bread here. Yes, Rajesh, is it a jazz or is it a necessity?
About product design?
I would say product, sustainability, I would say
So these are all
green.
critical elements which are very important.
Yeah.
You get a lot of incentives in the developed part of the world if you are environment friendly, sustainability is measured and implemented and visible.
Yeah.
But in the developing countries, we actually pay for the empty space.
Right.
What do I mean by empty space is for a couple, 280 square feet is sufficient if it is planned well. For a family of 2 plus 2, 550 square feet space is enough, but they are consuming 1,000 square feet or 1,100 square feet. So you actually tend to pay for the empty space, the space that you don't use. Like a couple having a 2-bedroom hall kitchen, you're actually not using that 1 bedroom and you're still paying for it, or you still bought it, making it more expensive for somebody who could have otherwise bought it as a part of the next house that they would have bought.
Correct.
So a lot of design element needs to get into play, and that is going to be happening. I also love to say that furniture is the next real estate. Like people were used to sofa come bed. Now it needs to be hall come bedroom. Like
Oh,
the
wow.
hall in the day should become a bedroom in the night, and you should
Like
have
a
furniture in
flexible
that way.
structure,
Yeah.
yeah,
Even a
yeah.
kitchen converts into a bedroom.
That's
So you
true.
can have a 1 BHK converted to a 3 BHK in the
Right,
night if
right.
you have smart engineering.
Right.
If the developer is intelligent enough to implement the right infrastructure with the right light fittings and all the other
Right.
fixtures. Functionally, it has to be perfect, and convenience-wise, it should be very convenient. In the developed part of the world, a 280 square feet single studio apartment is also so comfortable that there is absolute functional use. There are people in Japan, in France, in Manhattan, where the height of the apartments are such that in a very small floor space, your bedroom is on the higher part of the room. You get me? Now that part of construction is not very expensive, but it
Right.
becomes very convenient to accommodate more people
That's
in
right.
less sanctionable FSI.
Right.
So smart thinking needs to come into play, which is happening. And very shortly, Mumbai is one of the most important cities in the world. It is the financial capital not only of India,
That's
but of
right.
Asia and also a major part of the world.
Right.
So smart planning, product is not only about the size, it is also about the price, it's also about the location. If I want to live in Nariman Point, what is green building? Green building should not be only by sustainable products. A green building should also be, as my choice, a
Right.
place which is close to my office.
That's right.
I need to have walking distance between, then I'm really living a green life. If my office is 5 minutes walking distance from my place in Nariman Point, then I'm a green citizen. It's not only about the product, but also the mindset of the people and the citizens and the civilians of that country. So a whole game shift and a mindset shift needs to happen, which is happening at a very rapid pace. And India is not far behind.
Yeah.
And Mumbai definitely is marching, and organizations of CREDA and MCHI are showing us exposures to such great product ranges and design possibilities with the brilliant
yeah.
architects that India is producing,
Yeah.
that we soon will have the right product, which will be a boon not only to the buyer, but an asset to the country
Right.
and a contribution as an Indian citizen to the global environment.
Wow, that's really a good thought, and I think I'm blessed to have 4 authors on this panel because they have so much to speak. Coming back to you, I think my question to you would be, while we in one angle we talk about all these aspects, is the consumer ready at this moment to pay for it? Do you want the mic?
As I said, the consumer preferences have been evolving in the past decade. The disposable incomes are rising, and there are a lot of options available in the market for the customers to pick and choose from, right? We have all categories of customers, right? From affordable to super luxury. And since the disposable income is rising, and developers are offering a lot of product which has all of these value additions done in the project, the customer, based on his income, has the right to pick and choose what he wants, what his pocket affords, and at the end of the day, he also wants to ensure that he's buying something that is for long term, right? People traditionally right now would want to go with traditional developers who are just building a standalone tower, which is not very environmentally conscious or doesn't cater to the aspirations.
Sure.
Real estate, as I said, is not only about buying and living in a house. It's become a lot more aspirational, emotional, and thinking long term. So a lot of customers, as I said, they have the price points available. They have the options to choose from, and based on what's available, I think most of them are ready right now.
Superb. Talking about consumer again, I think, many of us are working on that space where ultimately everything is made for the consumer. Looking at the aspect, there is a gap of making a consumer understand. Srinivasan sir, this is for you. Do we still have this gap between making people understand about the expectations, what they have, versus the offering? And if yes, then how can we cater that?
I wish to hear soon. म्यूचुअल फंड सही है, मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, हम भी प्रमोट कर रहे हैं. Like if builder community comes together and says, what is the purpose of having a brake in your car? Anyone? Definitely not to stop you. The purpose of having a brake, one of the purposes is to go faster. If you don't have a brake, just imagine you can't drive more than 10 km speed. Why you go fast? Because you have a confidence, I have a brake. So my purpose is here, Definitely, builder community should come up with the jargon like, property investment भी सही है. वो करने के लिए survival of fittest, whatever points come from the financial angle, creativity angle, innovation side, and also how to reinvent your business model. How do you create value proposition not only to the customer, the people who are involved in entire value chain. In fact, I am an academician, written more than 12 books. I can talk about more elaborative how to work on sustainable. I'm working on ESG project now. In fact, that is instead of just a jargon, if we make it reality.
Right.
But because you are implementing ESG, don't ask customer to pay premium price. It is a responsible of everyone. Even again, why DMart became success, credit goes to supplier. Are we builder? How we are genuine to the supplier pass when as far as the payment is concerned. There are many points and issues. Probably if you create value to everybody in the value chain. Again, I'm telling you, starting from vendor to customer, if we could create value, you will be able to survive. Because business says survival of fittest. Then the gap can be comfortably adjusted. Thank you.
Ayush, what's your thought on this? Is there a gap between the customer expectations and the deliveries, what is happening?
100%. I completely agree. In fact, when you said survival of the fittest, I think that's what it is. A lot of organizations, they don't have that strong long-term immune system, and that's where they kind of flounder. But I do think, when we were talking about Dubai, Dubai developers have sort of understood, what a customer wants, and then they keep pushing that. They keep marketing it. And a customer doesn't want to interact with a sales agent unless they see a WhatsApp notification. They don't want to interact with a sales agent unless they've, been hounded or seen like a YouTube video where they get that brand recall. In the case where, you've not understood your customer preference and you're giving them a call, you're rechurning that cold or junk lead, that's where then you lose that, interest of the customer.
Yes.
And that's why you're not able to really pinpoint in terms of, and obviously then for your next project, you're not able to cater to your particular customer preferences. So you have to understand the preferences and then customize your project or the marketing material rather to fit that kind of gentry or that customer category. And, if you, I said this earlier as well, data is the new oil. If you've understood what is the gentry, what's the demographics, the age, it's not about location anymore. I think there are a lot of other factors. People want a visual, more appealing, unit. And I think that's where there's a little bit more of evolution to be done.
Okay. I think, let me also throw a interesting question now here. Let's say a day when you realize that you have 500 crores, to use. I would want to hear from all of the, people in the developer lobby. What is going to be your priority, the set of priorities which you'd set? Rajesh, starting from you. Harshul has a big smile on his face and he's imagining that he has 500 crores one day. And what is going to be the priority? Consumer, product, approval, licensing, what? It's interesting to hear the heart of the developer, right?
As developers, we need to build a very green mindset, and the fund should not be deployed only to developing your project, but you should also provision for the environment. And what is environment management? Environment management is nothing but managing jal, jameen, jungle or janwar. If you manage these four elements well, you might build in one place, but if you're also contributing to the upliftment and development of these four elements, you are absolutely a green citizen contributing to the environment for whom you are absolutely personally responsible.
Sure.
So it is Jal, Jameen, Jungle and Janwar. Look at them also when you're developing a project in any part of the world.
Wow, was my question leaked? I think he has a nice rhyming to it. All right, Harshul, to you.
I think we are so used to the stress that even if there's 500 crores, 1,000 or 5,000 crores, we'll still continue this business of development. But yeah, ideally, I think we should evolve to a point, if you've made that mark, go to building iconic buildings.
Right.
I think what a city is known for, iconic buildings. If you can stand out in the skyline, I think that'll be more important. And you know how actors mature? I think as developers, you should mature to building iconic product rather than just another building.
That's right. I think that's the product specialized. Keval, I definitely want to hear from you because you've been dealing with a lot of developer. What should be the sequence? I think the conversation should be that way.
So if we have 500 crores, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll answer it. We had Abu Dhabi development right? They came to us saying that, Keval, we've got 2,000 crores, one project, one developer. I said, wow. But there was so this 2,000 crores we
I think that's working.
So this 2,000 crore was to be spent in 2 years. I didn't find anyone who could do that. So with 500 crores, I think it brings a lot of responsibility, I would say. I would spend a lot of that chunk into due diligence and how to make my product different than others. And especially when it comes to Mumbai, I will see how I can provide more open spaces and less buildings. Thank you.
Ayush, how about you? Let's take in your scenario. You're dealing with the distribution, you're dealing with Proptech, you're dealing with so many innovation. And of course, you've just started the way forward and you like at this moment of your life when you're kind of contemplating what needs to happen and, you know, which is the next gap which you need to fill in as a society also for that matter.
Right. I think I've now stayed in 5 different countries. I've seen that in Mumbai, or rather in India, the density per square foot is very high, per square meter. And I think that's something that, you know, obviously, unfortunately, it's only if you have a lot of funds, you'll be able to provide a lot more open space. I've seen that internationally, and I've seen the kind of quality of life or standard of living that, you know, it improves for the end customer. And it actually makes your house or, you know, feel like a home and you feel like you're living in a community. So if I had 500 crores, I would do that and then probably retire.
Superb. A quick one from you, Gopal. I know you will have a list, but a quick one from you.
So I would say already product side, the fellow colleagues have added. And I would think we have to really improvise on the customer experience front.
Right.
And for the same, you need to have a real skilled team.
Right.
So I would love to invest more on the human capital,
Right.
invest more on the better infrastructure and better experiences.
Right.
Ultimately, being a business owner, you have to invest in the human capital and ultimately human capital build a real asset for you.
Right.
So my preference will always be first towards human capital, then infrastructure for my human capital, then a better customer experience backed by a theme of our product is our pride. And then ultimately, I think if I work on these 4 parameters well, then the overall ecosystem can build a real assets for me. Thank you.
Superb. Banerjee sir, what if you want to change? You've been like now knowing the nuances of the industry. One thing which you would utilize the 500
From the consumer point of view, I will always look at value for money.
Okay. Lovely. How about you?
Yeah, exactly. I think I collaborated what he said. If I'm talking from a customer standpoint of view, it's absolutely value for money. Can it be product, can it be pricing? So value for money for me as well.
Srinivasan sir, how about the 500 crores in your pocket one day?
What a wonderful panel. If I am a meat exporter, right? If I'm a meat exporter, obviously I love to make a business, I love to make a profit. So what I want to do? Obviously I love to cut more and more animals, but end of the day I will say I'm a net zero company. I keep all the environment, I keep ESG compliant, still I make money. Thank you.
Wow, so I've kind of left you with that thought of 500 crores. Thank you, gentlemen. It was absolutely a wonderful forum. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think the stalwarts of the industry, thank you all. Thank you, Adsync. Thanks for this beautiful panel, and definitely we'll look back and we'll catch up again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nidhi. That was absolutely brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, to know the whereabouts of the present situation of the real estate world, maybe please have a beautiful photo op ahead of the table.